Teacher Liability, a presentation given by Donnell Clay for the Sedgwick County Special Education Cooperative. The objectives of the presentation are to review the terms associated with teacher liability and look at how the issue of liability affects school personnel on a daily basis. Liability is an important issue because teachers today face new challenges in the classroom that were never heard of or thought of in the past. The Teacher Liability Act is part of the No Child Left Behind, authorized by former President Bush. Schools that receive Title I funds also have this assurity. The Teacher Liability Act offers some protection for staff that are working within the scope of their employment, that the teachers are acting with normal accepted laws, that the teachers were licensed, and that the conduct was not willful or reckless. Reasonable assurance. Parents send their students to school with the assurance that the teacher will act as they were the parent. They expect the school personnel to make sure this environment is safe. They also expect the school personnel to look for foreseeable dangers. Tort. A tort is an action or civil wrong committed against one person by another. There are two types of torts, intentional torts and unintentional torts. Intentional torts result from a deliberate act. They could be accompanied by malice. They infringe on the rights of others. Some example of intentional torts are assault. Assault is when there is threat to do bodily harm. Battery. Battery is the delivery or actually hitting somebody else. Defamation of character. False imprisonment. False imprisonment in this situation applies to teachers who detain students after school or at another time for an unreasonable amount of time. The issue that needs to be here is unreasonable amount of time. Mental distress. Mental distress is when a teacher embarrasses or belittles a student in front of others. And trespass on personal property. In this case, trespass on personal property is detaining property of the students, like a cell phone or an iPod, for an unreasonable amount of time. Unintentional torts occur when school personnel acts negligently. There are 4 things that must be proven to bring an unintentional tort. Standard of care was breached, breach of duty, legal cause, and injury. Standard of care. This is just that the teacher acted in the manner that most professionals would have acted given the same situation. Standard of care is not exact. It differs from student to student depending on the age, maturity, physical limitations, experience, or mental capacity of the student. So for example, if you're dealing with a student that works with functional applied academics, they would have a different standard of care than a gifted student. Breach of duty. Did the school personnel conduct the standard of care given by the situation? Did the school personnel foresee the danger, and could they have prevented it? For example, if a playground equipment is broken, the teacher needs to foresee that there could be an opportunity for injury and needs to either not let the students on that equipment or have it removed. There must be legal cause. There must be direct action that the school personnel's breach of duty led to an injury. If this is not present, there is no liability. An injury, there must be evidence of injury, not just stated injury, but evidence of injury. There are some defenses for the breach of duty. If you find yourself in this situation, there could be a defense of contributory negligence. It just simply states that the student contributed to the negligence. For example, in my classroom, students continually lean back in their chair. I work with them not to lean back in their chair, but they continually do so. If the students were to fall and get harmed, they contributed to this act, so there could be contributory negligence. There's an assumption of risk. When a student participates in an academic or activity, there is assumption that that student may get hurt. For example, cheer squads. When cheer squads do stunts, there is an assumption that that student could become harmed during that event. And also then that would help ease the breach of duty that the teacher might be facing. And there's comparative negligence. In this, it says that although the teacher might have been negligent in their duty, it says that the student also had some negligence, so that you would base the award for damages on how much each party contributed to that negligence. There are some special considerations. One of the things is never, as a teacher, leave your classroom unattended. This puts students at risk, but also puts yourself at risk. If you are needing to leave the room for a reason, call to the office and have someone sent down to cover your classroom. As administrators, we must make sure that our school personnel are trained to offer reasonable care. If they are not, then we need to do that. Also, we need to provide supervision of students before and after school. This is a must, as the students are on the school grounds and should be supervised. The one thing that really affects us is parental consent. The forms that we have parents sign when we are taking field trips or participating in different events do not release us from a standard of care, but rather kind of inform the parents that their student will be participating in an activity, but it does not release you from the standard of care. In summary, school personnel must always be aware of the standard of care. You must always be reasonable and prudent in the care that you give students. We should make sure our school grounds are safe and free from dangerous equipment. We must take reasonable care along with us on field trips and other school trips. We should avoid humiliating students. We should not detain students after school for an unreasonable amount of time or detain their property for an unreasonable amount of time. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.